recording.
Okay, great. I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the City of Syracuse Landmark Preservation Board. Today is March 18th, 2021. Kate, could you go through the roll call?
Yes. As soon as I get my layout right. Why is my layout not right? Hold on. Sorry, guys. Show all names, hide all names. Hold on. Ah! Oh my goodness. Sorry, folks. Hold on.
It's okay.
Oh, I'll just do it this way. Okay. I'll go in a row. Here we have Tom Cantwell, Bob Haley, Julia Marshall, Don Radke, Cynthia Carter, Dan Leary, Jeff Romano, and Lisa Tonzi. I didn't miss anyone, did I?
Yourself.
Oh, myself. Kate Auetter. Yep.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd like a motion to accept the minutes from the March 4th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
I second the motion. Oh, Jeff.
Any changes, modifications?
Yeah, just bear with me for a second. It's been a couple days since I made these notes. Let's see here. On the first order of business, the West Island Artist, the Pathfinder Bank, down near the bottom of that section, under the sentence, just we made the comment about scales for automobiles rather than pedestrian. I thought we should add that we were saying and not informed by the historic structure or not appropriate for historic property. I think.
Was that comment true?
Time, Bob, why don't you
I'm sorry, pardon me.
In the interest of time, why don't you just submit those to Kate?
Yeah, that was it. And I appreciate your patience. Thank you.
Any other changes?
Yes, I had one comment. Under new business. Oh, wait a minute. No, forget it.
Okay.
Wait a minute. It's March 4th. Yes. The third paragraph, the first line. The vestibule included the addition. I think it was the addition.
Addition. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor of accepting the minutes as amended?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Thank you so much. Okay, first thing on today's agenda is old business. CA-21-01 M1 506 West Onondaga Street. The signage. I think Ed, you're on.
Yes, how are you? If you could share or let me share, I could.
Yep.
Let me see here. Here we go.
You got
Everybody see the screen now?
Could I ask everyone to mute who is not speaking currently, because there's a lot of background. Thanks.
Okay. So does everybody see the screen?
Yep.
Okay. So after the last meeting, the comments we were showing the masonry pylon sign, and at that point we had a 9x9 sign, and it was like I think 18 feet high. So everybody was, well, everybody, I think most everybody was agreeing to the masonry pole. And so what we did, we went back and we reduced the signage height and the size of the sign to hopefully accommodate some of those comments. And then so this is what's shown on the screen right now. We went from a 9x9 to a 6x6, and we reduced we reduced the overall height by 2 feet. So that's what this is showing on the screen right now. And then the same day that I pretty much had this sign ready to go, Bob had an idea about going back to a monument sign, and he sent us a sketch. And so I'll show that now. Let me find it here. So Bob was looking at us to take a look at with the owner, with Pathfinder, going back to a monument sign. And well, we originally looked at this way back when as a team, and so we wasn't we had our problems with the monument sign for a couple reasons, but overall I said, well, Path, let's look at it one more time. And so they went back, looked at it, and they would like to stick with the pylon sign. So, you know, unfortunately, we can't please everybody, I guess, but the owner has their reservations with going with the monument sign. So they asked me to try to for us to reconsider or to consider moving forward with this sign, and I guess that's where I am today. Without turning around and going to a monument sign, they would like to move forward with this sign as presented here. And
Okay,
I
well,
guess
first of all, I want to thank you for being responsive to the board's comments about lowering the sign and making it smaller, which is what we asked, and it's what you did. Bob's submission was just an idea, and the fact of the matter is you did as requested. Any other comments from the board members?
Oh, go ahead, Cynthia. You'll have to unmute. Yeah.
That's what I was trying to get to. My problem with the sign is it still seems a little too tall. Could it come down a little more? It's still very much like a sign that you would see on a strip development, like on Erie Boulevard, with the height. A little bit more human scale would be, I think, appropriate in a historic neighborhood.
well, I could very easily take it down 2 more feet, I would think, and still have it be fairly safe. We're worried about vandalism, those kind of things, but I think I'm looking at it right now. I could at least a foot, if not 2. Yes, I think we could bring it lower.
Okay.
What I wanted to say was that I am, as has already been mentioned, very grateful about changing the size. Scale, the issue of scale has been, has come up with this committee in one context or another several times. And we don't always get, I think, what we think is a satisfactory response. But I'm very happy that you responded by changing the size.
Thanks. I think
Any other
they
comments
want to
from
have
the
a
board?
present on the site. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Any other comments by any
Yes,
board members?
one comment. I appreciate that they lowered it, and in fact, if you could lower it another 2 feet, I think that would be even better. I do have a question, and I can't find it now, but the numbers, the 506, did I understand that from some of these documents, and I can't find it now, that would be in the stone and not applied to the stone?
No, it's applied. They're
They are applied,
yeah, they're actual
but it's not
6
considered
inch.
signage, right, Kate?
Not considered. It's the address.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So they'll be like an aluminum.
Okay, yeah, you've
letter.
got, well, I was reading it
Right.
backwards. You have relief, and
Yeah.
I'm thinking it would be better if actually, but anyway, okay.
Is that a panel with a number on it illuminated?
Say it again. I'm sorry.
The panel that has the 506 on it, is that illuminated?
No, that's a stone, like a lime.
That's stone.
And then right, and then that'll be like a black aluminum number.
And the illumination of the sign above is just the letters or the background?
It's the whole thing. And so if you looked at on the side, gives all the information on the illumination here under a signature date. So that's all the technical aspects of what's in the sign and what the sign is made of. At least this is where we're at today.
So right now, the height of this is 18, so you're willing to come down to 16?
It's already 16.
Oh, it is 6, so you're willing to come down
Yeah.
to 14?
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta review that with the owner, but I'm sure
Okay.
they would be fine with that.
Actually, an
And
inch and 3/4 below
Right.
Yeah.
So I think
I have a
if we,
comment.
uh,
Is it possible to reduce the height of the masonry pier, maybe from 8 feet to 5 feet, and then you have the 16-inch capstone of the address?
trying to get it off the ground to a point where we don't want to have people
Jumping on it.
jumping on it. And I mean, it's on the corner and it's fairly close to the sidewalk, and we're worried about people spray painting, whatever, vandalism. So we're trying to
Okay,
keep it to a
I'm looking
point.
at it scale-wise
Yeah.
and more pedestrian friendly,
Right.
but I do understand your
understand.
point of view, Ed.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. I
understand.
mean,
I
it's
just,
already proved on there that, that's going to be an issue. So we want to be careful.
Yeah, no, I
Okay.
appreciate the comment.
Right.
So just to be
Okay, so,
clear, if we're going down to 14, if we possibly can go down to 14 feet, it's the, not the sign that would be reduced, because you've got a sign of 6 by 6.
Right.
So the masonry would be coming down.
Well, there's a piece of pole that sticks through right now.
Right.
High about, so that would come, so I don't think you'd see the pole anymore. So now the
Okay.
sign would be on the top of the limestone, or the stone, whatever kind of stone we use, probably limestone.
And that would,
And then the masonry would come down a little bit. Yes.
okay.
Kate.
So we haven't really detailed it. So this is more
Yeah.
of a graphic representation.
Right. Kate, where are we in terms of our C of A? Is there any other outstanding issue?
This is the last piece of the modification, the additional information that Ed provided at our last meeting. So this was the last piece, and we would need a motion.
We need a motion to approve the C of A application reflecting the change sign as the last item. So if
Okay.
somebody would like to make that motion?
no, I simply had a comment, a continuing comment, and I'm not ready to make a motion. Thank you. Thank you. Ed, I wanted to thank you. I tried to do that earlier, but for responding, number one, the information that I sent you was personal, and it was based on information I gained from your historic property to then suggest a sign. And I did a kind of minimal, I took a brick base as you have from the house and a frame for the bay window as simply a rectangular sign and reduced it. Thank you for doing everything you're doing along those lines. My efforts were trying to do a sign that did not look like it was detached from the building, but in fact informed by the building with a large client, Pathfinder owner signature. So thank you for doing that. I think you knew that effort, so appreciate it. I still feel on this sign that it is inappropriate in the sense of its appearance as non-pedestrian and out of scale and out of character with your historic property. That's simply my assessment of this sign.
Okay, what I would like to do, Bob, is I'd like to have, there seems to be a majority of the board that wants to move forward, so I'd like to have a motion and a second to accept it with this change in sign, and then we can have discussion before we have a vote. That would be the correct procedure to follow. So if somebody would like to make a motion to accept the C of A application.
Don, before we vote, are we clear now that we're in compliance with the sign ordinance, including the canopy?
Yes.
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 And is there another sign at the other outlet street or the exit? Is there another sign over there?
The ATM machine will have a vinyl wrap, I believe, and Slocum Ave has its own square footage, and it'll meet that. That's the only sign.
I could float a motion, which you could turn down immediately. I would make a motion that we accept everything except the sign and approve it to move it forward. That would be a motion.
Do I have a
I would
second?
second that. I would second that.
Okay, discussion on the motion.
I'm not sure what that means.
Well,
I'm not sure either.
There's a motion to accept the C of A with the exception of the sign.
but everything was approved last time.
Yeah,
We-
that, I don't,
What, we're starting
There's
all
nothing
over
but
again.
the sign.
Let's,
Um,
let's,
if I can clarify. So in the modification, it included the additional information about the illumination and the changes to the vestibule. And then this sign. So at the last meeting, we held the modification to the C of A open pending the approval of the sign.
right. We have
So-
not approved anything to date. We have gone through and we have gotten answers to everything, but we've had no motion to approve.
On this modification, on the modification of the application, correct?
Right.
So right now, there's a motion on the table to approve all modifications to the C of A with the exception of the sign on Onondaga. And that's been seconded. Any discussion on that motion? Okay,
So
all
basically,
in
you want me
favor
to
of
do
the
a
motion?
90-minute sign.
Hold on,
No.
Ed.
We'll just follow. All in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Anybody in favor of the motion? The motion's
I
been
am.
made.
Yeah.
Aye.
it means everything but the sign.
Right. Okay, right now we have 3 yays and 3 nays, and 4
No,
nays.
3 eyes. 3 eyes, I think.
3 ayes and 4 nays. Motion does not carry. Would somebody like to make another motion to accept the application with all modifications? Those
like to
people
move
who
this to a
voted
vote.
yea, I'd like to see somebody make a motion, please.
I would like to test this with at least with a vote. So I would like to move to accept the C of A as it has been amended.
Do we have a second? No second to that motion? Folks, we have to move forward here. We have a motion.
I've been raising my hand. I'm seconding it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, I can't see all the people on the screen when this
Yeah, I-
screensaver's up. I can't see everyone
I can't.
on the screen. Yeah.
Hey,
That
can
was
you
it,
see
yeah.
everybody? Okay. All in favor of the motion?
Wait, can I have a question, discussion? Oh,
Just a minute, please.
Yeah.
We have a motion on the floor that's been seconded to accept the C of A and its modifications as submitted. Are there any
As
comments
amended.
on that motion?
I thought the term was as amended.
Well, with the changes we've asked for, from the original, they have changed the
With
plans.
the modifications that have been presented, including the sign.
Right.
That was the motion. Any discussion on that motion?
I would like to see the sign shortened.
Beyond the additional 2 feet?
Well, no, the 2 feet was not in the submission, so that's a change to the submission.
And that's what we're saying is a modification.
That's the modification that was just made.
Okay.
Okay.
Ed, could you stop sharing your screen for a sec so that
Sure.
everyone can see each
So
other?
you can see everyone. Yeah, thanks.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
There we
Okay.
Thank you.
Can you clarify what,
There's a motion on the floor to accept the C of A as modified. That includes the sign and that includes the representation that the sign's going to be lowered 1 to 2 feet. And that's been made and seconded. And discussion on that motion. Hearing none.
Don,
all in
I'd like to
favor?
stop.
Yes.
I don't think that the sign is perfect, even as presented and as it has been modified. I don't think it's perfect. But I think that the response to what we have asked for is adequate. And I am most in favor of the fact that the plan for the building itself and the area around the building, what's been proposed for the building itself is good and it's perfectly fine. And so therefore, I don't want to quibble any further over the sign. I personally don't want to quibble any further over the sign.
Okay. Any other discussion on the motion?
I second what Tom is saying. I'm really happy that they're doing this with the building. And although I don't like the sign, I think that I don't want to quibble anymore either. I'm glad they're lowering it. I wish it didn't look like something that was supposed to be in a strip development. I wish it was more residential scale, but
Okay.
they certainly have worked hard to work with us.
Absolutely. Okay. Any other comment? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Hey, can you see?
How many, can we have a roll call actually?
Yes.
'Cause I can't.
Can you do
I'm
the
having
roll
trouble.
call, Kate?
Okay, so we have, Dan,
Nay.
no. Cynthia,
Yes.
Cynthia's yes. Jeff,
No.
okay. Julia,
Oh, it's a tough one. No.
Bob,
No.
and Tom is a yes.
Yes.
Yes. But, and Lisa, sorry, Lisa.
Lisa?
Unmute.
Can I change my vote? I'm waffling back and forth. Just change it
All right,
to yay,
Please.
please.
Lisa?
I'm a no.
and no.
No.
Okay. All right,
What's the count?
so that is
Julia,
four against and two, I'm sorry. Three, 4, and 4 against.
Okay.
Could Julia
Motion
clarify
does
her
not
vote,
carry.
please?
What's that?
Could you clarify your vote, please? I
Yes.
heard you say change, but I'd like to hear you say yay or nay, I guess.
Yay.
Thank you.
Changed it to a yay. Motion does not carry. Ed, I think we're in a position here where the majority of the board, for right or wrong, would like to see the sign scale reduced even further. So if you could go back to your client and see if that's something that's accepted. What is the time, what's the effect of the time frame on this project by holding this over to another meeting, Ed?
I don't think the sign's going to affect our overall project as far as we're getting our permitting now, hopefully through the city. It's in SHPO's hands too. So for us, the big time frame is to get the permit so we can start construction in the next couple of weeks. As far as sign goes, we could still work towards the
What I
sign.
suggest, what I would suggest is, Kate, can we remove the sign from the C of A and have a motion to accept the balance?
Mhm.
If that's acceptable to you, Ed?
Yeah, I guess I want to have
Then we can
direction to move forward.
Right.
Yeah. My only comment on doing the monument sign is we got to be careful with the size if we do go that direction. If I stayed with the masonry pole and I lowered it and showed you guys what it looks like, and if I widened the base of it to make it look more like a monument, could that be a possibility if I sent it to you?
Yeah, I want to make it clear, Ed, that the monument was one board member's idea. It is not the board's position, one way or the other, to go with a monument sign. That was one board member's.
So what's the direction for, is it the shape of the sign, the visual of what it looks like
Yes.
that everybody doesn't like?
The direction is to lower the sign more than anything else. It's still.
Well, can I?
Well, that's
16 feet high.
No,
Can
the
I
whole
make a
design.
comment?
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Let's stop
Yeah.
here. And is it okay to remove the sign from your C of A application and have it be separate? Ed, I need your comment on that.
Yes.
That is, if
I
we
mean,
remove the sign from the application, we can approve everything else at this meeting, which will then allow you to go forward with your permits between now and next meeting.
so then how is the sign going to be taken care of then? We got to keep,
The sign
we're just
would be
going to
a
keep having
separate
more
application.
meetings.
Would be a separate
Oh, I
application
didn't realize that's
next
what we're
week.
doing. Oh,
Don,
I
can we
mean,
set up a subcommittee for the sign? So we can get it to him faster, so he doesn't have to wait till next meeting?
On a C of A, we would still have to approve it.
Okay.
I mean,
So Ed,
we've
Ed,
already
I'm
got the
just trying-
certificate of
Ed,
appropriateness.
Ed, I'm
Yes,
just
good,
trying
sorry.
to move this forward, and I want to move forward that which we can move forward so you can get your permits. The only thing that you couldn't move forward, if I did what was suggested, was the sign. The sign would have to wait until our next meeting. But everything else would be
That's fine.
approved if in fact we did that.
Yeah, I don't want our permitting process to be affected. We need to get the permit.
That's exactly
Then
what
at
I'm
some point,
saying.
we're gonna have to figure out how to do it. You're right.
A comment. May I make a comment?
Excuse me, Kate had the floor. Kate?
I'm just clarifying that there was originally a C of A that was approved, everything except for the lighting
Right.
and signage. Ed submitted a modification that included the lighting and the signage, and now, and that's what's on the floor today. So if you choose to move forward with the lighting, approve the lighting as was discussed from the last meeting, and remove the signage, he will need to come back with a second modification to the C of A with a revised sign. That's what we're talking about.
Kate, can we not just remove the sign from this C of A application?
Yep, absolutely.
And that's what I'm suggesting, so that Pathfinder can move forward, not interfere with their permit process. And as SHPO and the city move forward, the applicant could continue to move forward, and the sign would not be part of the C of A approval, and the C of A would come to us as a separate application at our next meeting. That's what I'm suggesting. Ed, and then if that's the case, if you agree to that, everything else
yeah.
approved.
Can I just say, I think that, Ed, are you able to, you already have the C of A that was approved, which is allowing the permitting to move forward. Is that correct? You are.
Yeah, see, I'm a little confused. You already gave us a certificate of approval so we can move forward with the permit. So I thought we already kind of did that. And these are the things that were.
What I'm saying is that I think that we can, it can be held open. I would recommend actually this modification be held open pending an approval of the signage, because there's nothing in this modification that is holding the permitting back at this point.
Okay, Kate, you're saying that we have a C of A approval, which I don't think we do.
Right.
No, we do.
I just don't want any issues. Excuse me, I don't think we have a C of A approval on this application. I think we have board discussion approving everything except the sign.
Not to contradict you, Don.
No, hey.
Actually, we do. This is a modification. If you look, it's CA 21-01N1 because it's a modification.
Right.
You approved. The board approved
The
the original.
Right. And we used it for the zoning application too.
Right.
Okay.
Which included everything. So we're in good shape, and I think that all Ed needs to do is, I think, having a quick subcommittee meeting. Jeff was recommending a small group to discuss with Ed how to improve the sign, or to get it to a point where the board can approve it. And at the next meeting, we can approve the modification and move on.
Okay, my mistake. Thank you. So then we're done, except for an appointment of a subcommittee.
Well, Julia, you have something? Go ahead.
Yeah, I had one comment. Don, your comment was that the only problem was the height. I would to consider, I mean, what they have right now is a square on top, even though it has a round top, it's 6 by 6. I really feel that if the dimension is rectangular versus square, it
Well,
will
that-
help the scale,
That would be for the subcommittee to work with.
which is fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So who wants to serve on the subcommittee? I'm looking for 3 people.
I do.
Bob?
Yep.
Jeff?
Anybody else?
If I might, I would make a suggestion instead of a subcommittee, since they've already considered a few options and Ed has kindly placed them on the table. If there's some disagreement, maybe what they should do is return with a series, whether it's 1, 2, or 4 of alternates that are acceptable to the owner and present them, rather than get the subcommittee involved in the design time that still has to go back to the owner.
Dan, I
really
think that's a
don't.
good idea.
Okay, then let's
What'd you say,
do
Ed?
that. Then let's do
you say?
that. Folks, we got to move this forward.
Ed's talking.
Yeah.
Don.
Move this forward. And-
Well, I talked to Pathfinder. They're at the point now where they want to move this forward too.
Sure.
And everybody is, you know, we just want to make Pathfinder happy and you guys happy too. We did the 3 schemes originally that were rectilinear. Pathfinder came up with this one. I agree with Dan. Let me get all 4 or 5 on the table. And if maybe
Right.
the rectilinear plan's the way to go, I think they might let us do that. And we've
Okay.
already spent time and effort with people to design things too. So
Right.
Okay, great. Okay, so we're all set except the modification on the sign, and you're going to come back to us at our next meeting, the first meeting in April, with however many iterations of the sign for us to look at and discuss.
correct.
Ed, I have a
It's the
technical
sign
question.
height.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Yep, go ahead.
Just
Okay,
do you need us to separate your lighting package from the signage package for this approval?
No.
No.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, Ed.
All right. I can take what I have from these directions and I can come up with something I hope everybody can agree to.
Okay, great, Ed.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
moving forward, C of A, CA-20 or 21-2, 110 Burlingame Road, new color scheme. Is the applicant here?
Yes.
Yes,
Here
hi.
she is.
Okay,
Welcome.
we have your application in front of us. The floor is yours if you want to just walk us through it. And please, everybody else mute.
Here, I can do some sharing. Oops, maybe.
Thank you.
Isabel, you're still there? Okay, you go for it while I try to share this.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm the owner of 110 Burlingame, which is on the corner of Burlingame and DeWitt. You can hear me okay through my mask?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just calling in from work. Yeah, so it was a wreck, you know, when I bought it, and I'm still cleaning nests out of the basement after 18 months. And basically, I just need to paint it because, you know, it needs to be painted. And it's a mid-century home. There are little pictures there of it. It's currently sort of yellow. I had the roof replaced when I moved in, and it's a black roof. So I was going through the Behr exterior paint book, right? And there's like a page on mid-century color schemes, and I chose one from there just to sort of make my life a little easier. I like the navy blue color scheme because I think that's going to look really slick with my black roof. I think it's a fairly conservative color scheme, like the navy blue and the black, and then the whitish trim, and a little pop of color. I thought I would do the yellow door that the Behr exteriors suggests.
Yeah, and I wanted to show that this is the reproduction of the yellow in your packets wasn't too good. So this is the plantain chips color.
Yeah. I initially was going to choose all the colors myself, you know, but it just kind of, with all the other things I'm doing with the house, it got kind of overwhelming. So I thought I'll just go with one of the standard suggested color combos.
Yep.
I move that we approve it as submitted.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do I have a
I'll
second?
second that.
I second.
All in favor? Excuse me, any discussion? All in favor?
I just,
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, I guess.
Oh, that's one.
Kate, I can't.
Thank you.
That was easy.
That was
Okay.
easy. Much easier than the sign. I will get to painting it. That's good. That's great.
Okay, thank you. Good luck.
Thanks,
Thank
Isabel.
you. Bye.
Okay, CA 21-3, 102 Cedric Drive, fencing and new color scheme. Is that applicant on?
Yes, I called in. My name's Jennifer.
Yes. Hey, Jennifer, how are you?
Hi, good.
Good. We've got your application in front of us, and Kate has the ability to share, but the floor is yours if you could explain what you're doing.
Sure. So as far as there's existing like a forest green shutter, and there's also a burgundy door. The shutters are in really rough shape, like they haven't been painted in a long time, and the same with the door, it's faded. So I wanted to go with sort of a patriotic color scheme. The house is going to remain white, and then change the shutters over to, I don't know the exact colors. I did send them to Kate, and
Yep.
I have
Yeah, we've
them.
got him in front.
Yeah, so that was a combination that was together at Lowe's. So they put those two colors together for the door and for the shutters. So the roof is already like a dark black with a little bit of, it depends on the sunlight. Sometimes it looks a little gray. Sometimes it looks really black. So I'm just not a fan of the forest green, and it definitely needs to be kept up. So because there's a lot of chipping on the shutters currently.
Have you thought
And
about black, Jen?
What?
Have you thought about black shutters?
Well, the neighbor across the street, their color scheme is already white with black.
Oh, okay.
So I don't want to repeat them across the street.
Okay, so those are the colors. Can you go through the fencing, and then we can have a discussion?
Sure. So when you come down Sedgwick Drive, the Sedgwick Farm sign is like only 2 doors from me. So on the south-facing side, we wanted to mimic the Sedgwick Farm sign with their fence design, and so that when you can see it from the street, it'll be cohesive with the Sedgwick Farm sign. Last year, we did have some teenagers that are cutting through our yard, going through our cars at night. We caught it on camera. And I think that that'll be a deterrent by creating, this barrier. They literally went from door to door to door behind the houses to each house, up Sedgwick, and then to the houses that end at James. So all the neighbors caught these people going through, trying to get into all the cars. I think if we put a fence there, it'll help to deter that. It's gonna make it more difficult for people to want to get in our backyard, get into our house, get into our cars. And I don't like the idea of a privacy fence on the James Street side. It'll block a lot of light with a lot of the gardening that's in the backyard of my house. So I wanted to allow for airflow, but still create that barrier. It's not about privacy from the neighbors. It's about a deterrent. And then the same on the east side, the 2 neighbors on James and next to me at 104 Sedgwick, they already have cedar fencing. So all I want to do is create the 3 sides of the fence so the entire east side of our property will match the house on James with the cedar fence that they have. So I was trying to make it cohesive back there with matching their fence.
Okay.
Basically, well, that's also a cut through. People cut through from James Street to get over to Sedgwick to eliminate going to the corner on the sidewalk, especially kids from Lincoln Middle. When they're
Okay,
walking
so
home
right
from school.
now we have 3 items that we're discussing. one, a cedar fence to, which we have a cut of, we have a sample of on the east border of the property. Then the open decorative metal fence on the north side of the property, I guess, right? And then,
Right.
and then the paint colors.
No, that's the south
South.
side.
Excuse me, south side. I'm sorry, south side. And then we have the paint colors. Any discussion or any comment by any board members on any of those items?
I have a quick comment. I drove up last
Sure.
night to just take a look and get a perspective from the street view. I understand completely what Jennifer is talking about as far as deterrent. However, if you walk down Sedgwick and you put the fence in the back, that's going to show from the street. You're going to see that cedar fence from the sidewalk when you walk by your driveway. So I just wanted to make that point.
Right. That's a good point, but also I want to mention that we've approved fences of this scale and this design.
Right.
I've got a couple of comments, Don. For the gate location, I appreciate you keeping it set back from that sunroom space there. Keeping the gate back across the front of the house is beneficial. I was questioning, you're looking to match the existing fence that's at the Sedgwick Farm sign?
Correct.
Correct, okay.
The design of the Sedgwick Farm is going to be
Right.
identical to the decorative I'm doing.
Right, okay. So I always thought that we try to keep the fences cleaner and that let the Sedgwick Farm sign stand out as different. That's my comment.
Yeah, I would follow that comment to say that the Sedgwick Farms sign was overly decorated, and I believe it, and this is my memory, I believe it was done without board approval. And it, to your property, you don't need over decoration or stylization for this particular fence. It's a functional fence, and as straightforward a fence as undecorated would be appropriate without finials or circles. So a simple fence. I was even going to ask you, had you considered you're trying to match a metal fence that's in the area there or not? Because I was going to recommend you consider cedar and have cedar front, cedar back.
I wouldn't
want that.
No, I wouldn't want that either.
I would like just to hear the applicant.
Yeah. As you're answering
I think that it's going to create a solid wall.
Yeah,
it's
too
gonna
close.
Really, I don't think that, especially because there's two neighbors that share that driveway right next to me.
Okay.
And I think it's going to create like buildup of leaves and other debris, especially when it's windy there.
Okay, that's fine.
And
And
there's
you
already vegetation growing, so I wanted those bushes to be allowed to grow.
right. So you want openness. I appreciate that, and that's a good answer. I would just not decorate it with finials or circular, make it as simple as possible.
Following Bob's comment in your application, where you're making a demonstration of the gate, there's a simple iron fence that does not have metal fence. Any of the finials or decorations is a Sedgwick Farm. And you've got a gate with a curved top. I'm just wondering if you would consider that design with a straight top on the gate rather than a curved top and the Sedgwick Farm. Just go with what is in that second submission with a straight gate top.
I don't know that I can get it in straight. I never looked into straight with the gate. And as far as the decorative, I was looking at other fences down the street, and most of them do have decoration. I can't think of one off the top of my head that doesn't. So I was trying to.
Yeah, unfortunately, people put things up without approval or they predate our ordinance. That happens a lot.
And just to be completely honest, that sign, that the Sedgwick Farm sign was put up, has caused a lot of problems with an unauthentic gate type that others have done, sometimes without approval. So what we're trying to do here is to show you what was appropriate to the building period of your house and the district.
Hey, Jen, that house on the corner of Brattle and Sedgwick, the yellow house, has a green wrought iron fence. Did you take a look at
Right.
that? Because that's super simple without a lot of decoration. So
Theirs is only 4 foot,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure of the time period of when that was put in.
right.
So it looks very, it does look older, not newer.
Yeah, just
It is.
the design I'm just making reference to.
I was thinking of the corner of Farmer and Sedgwick. Theirs is decorative. I can think of the end of Sedgwick and Park down by the circle. There's another one on the corner that's a Tudor, very decorative with gold finials.
Right, and that's what
so
we're saying. That's what they're saying. Those signs that you mentioned are inappropriate. And I believe in both cases, they were done either, I think one was done without approval and one was predating the ordinance.
Just for the record.
So I guess
with
So I
that
guess the
suggestion.
question is, are you willing to consider a simpler wrought iron fence?
that's not my taste. I'm sorry.
The lower
I'm
illustration.
Like, it's to me.
Can we
that's
clarify that
boring.
it's not wrought iron? Aren't you presenting an aluminum fence?
It's a wrought iron look, but it's made of aluminum.
Okay, I just want it clarified because it's not, the material is not wrought iron.
Right. Thank you for that clarification. Dan, I think you had a comment.
I just wanted to agree with your suggestion that the other fence illustrated would be appropriate.
Yes, the lower fence in your submission would be appropriate. I would agree.
Okay, so where we are is the back fence appears to meet the approval of the majority of the board. The paint colors, any comment on the paint colors? We generally, paint can be changed. So I think we're fine there, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so then the only thing is the board is not in favor of the fence that you have picked out.
Hey, Don, can I go ahead and make a motion?
Sure can.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the paint colors as submitted, the rear property line fence as submitted, and a flat top gate, simple design for an aluminum fence along the front and south side of the property.
Okay, before that motion is seconded, the applicant has indicated that that's not.
You
So,
just cut out, Don.
I said the applicant has represented that that is not what she wants to do. So I believe where we're at is we have a motion to approve as submitted or to disapprove. And the reason for the disapproval would be the wrought iron fence, if that's the direction the board wants, or the
Aluminum fence.
if that's the direction the board wants to go.
May I make a suggestion that if the applicant really likes the other fence, that she does a little historic research to see if she can find samples of 1920s fencing. I think some of it was more decorative than what we're suggesting. And if she can show historic examples, we could approve what she's looking for.
Good suggestion. If that's what the applicant wants to do, we can just hold this open until next meeting, if that's acceptable to you, Jennifer.
I guess my question is, what is not acceptable? The circles or the fleur-de-lis on the top, or the arch, or all three?
Certainly the finials.
You can pick and choose. Like I could do the circles and not the fleur-de-lis, or I could do the fleur-de-lis and not the circles. So these are all elements you can either add or take away.
Any board comment?
I guess if you would delete the fleur-de-lis, because that's what makes it quite frilly, I would not be opposed to the circles and a flat top gate.
Is that acceptable with the rest of the board and the applicant?
And gates were not always flat topped in the 20s. They frequently had decorative tops.
That's
So
true.
I think we're being,
I agree.
I would agree as well, Cynthia. I would be acceptable with, get rid of the fleur-de-lis and leave the gate as she wishes and with circles, and it would not to me be that ornate and competitive with the Sedgwick gate or Sedgwick fence.
Right. Is that acceptable to you, Jennifer?
Yes, I'm fine with that. So I'll just take off the fleur-de-lis, make it flat. So the gate is still acceptable as arched?
That's what we're
That's just a
proposing.
gate, not the rest of
Yes.
it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then just keep the circles with, I can take the fleur-de-lis off if that's the only issue. That's not a problem.
Okay.
Yeah,
Could a board member make a motion to that effect?
Before we do that, Dan, do we want to comment on the height of the posts? The posts and wall should be
Yes.
reduced from that in the picture.
What's that?
Post will have a circle top where each post is for the aluminum gate.
The ball, you mean?
Not excessively big, but just in dimension with the post.
Yes. I'm looking for a motion from a
Well-
board member.
So just before the motion, Don, if I could say one thing, and that is that we're going down a slip. First of all, to the applicant, thank you for your patience with this discussion. It's an important discussion, both for the board and for your house. Examples for gateway. First of all, this was not. This was a suburban community. It was not a gated by design. The houses typically did not have gates unless they were more Victorian in style of the period of this construction. So when you look for examples, it would be good to look, as Cynthia has said, for historic examples of the original gates that were in this area. Yes, they used metal gates in a few instances, but they were not highly decorative. I don't think we have like a high Queen Victorian house in this district. So the district character generally did not have it. We're not looking for other things. I'm personally, as judging this historic character, not looking for things that happened in the 1920s that we could bring into this district, because the defining characteristics of this district's are what we primarily follow in our recommendations for your property. So we're saying simplify. We're asking you to consider simplifying it as much as possible. Certainly a metal gate's appropriate. Certainly taking off the finials is probably the primary offender of this gate stuff. And beyond that, we're getting into the minutia, which we appreciate the efforts here. But we're looking to the authenticity of the district to inform our decision for your property. That's what this discussion's about. Thank you for your patience.
Okay, and the suggestion has been made by a board member that the discussion of the fence without the fleur-de-lis, accepting the rounded gate top, is a suggestion. The applicant has agreed with that, along with the cedar fence on the rear and the paint. I'm looking for a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept the cedar fence on the east end of the property and the aluminum gate without the fleur-de-lis detail at the top, and with a gate that has an arch top and circles within the design.
And the paint.
And, oh, excuse me, and accept the paint colors for the shutters and door.
I'll second that. I will second
Thank
it.
you. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Jennifer, thank you for your application. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving along, CA 21-4, 12 Battle Road, new garage and landscaping. Is that applicant here?
Yep, that's me.
Brian, do you want to share your own screen, or do you want me to what do you want to do?
If you don't mind sharing your screen, then I can go through mine and skip around, see where things are, so that way it can.
Okay, just
tell
for
me
board's
what you need me to
edification.
do. Yeah.
Sure, yeah, let's just start at the top.
Yeah, just for board edification, this is back in front of us. We had a discussion earlier. So this was designed by Who's your architect on this?
Okay, so yeah, backing up to the meeting we had last fall. So I had presented something really simple. It wasn't ready for approval by any means. It was just kind of gauge the board feedback, get some ideas of what we could do. Sorry, is my audio really bad?
I would ask everybody else to please mute.
Okay, it was a very simple thing. I did have a builder on board for it, but you know, I expected some feedback. I got a lot of feedback, probably more than I expected, but I was, you know, happy to incorporate it. And I'll be honest, the garage is better. It's a better design now. So, you know, thank you for that. So we went to, one of the feedbacks that we got was we needed a historic architect to design the garage. So that was actually kind of tough to find. There was a few good architects and they're all very, very busy. But we did manage to get Crawford and Stearns signed. So Randy Crawford drew this garage. He actually came out and looked at the house. And so we've got a lot of really great stuff. So originally I just said a 20 by 20. One of the feedback that I got was that it should be a little bit bigger. I guess concerned with, you know, having another application, adding structures later on. So we added this little bit of a shed on the side. And I think he extended it from 20 foot to 20'8", something like that. So they can build it out of 2x6s and just, you know, do a good solid construction. So that's the kind of floor plan that we have there. The idea is it's a 2-car garage that faces Brattle, so we'd be coming in that curb cut. And then we got a shed on the side. And I ended up getting a lawn tractor and snow blower. We got like 300 feet of sidewalk to clear. So the shed will store the lawn tractor. So this will work really well for our needs, but it's still relatively small, simple garage. So if we keep scrolling here, another big thing that we had, we wanted to have a roof that was, you know, not in the way. We didn't want to see a lot of roof from our house, from the curb, etc. The board wanted a more historic roof. Somebody had the good comment to match it off our veranda, so that's what we've done. So we've got this fully hipped roof, and Randy was even able to incorporate it onto the shed on the side. I think it's a really amazing design, honestly. I'm really excited for it. It's going to be expensive, but we feel it's worth it. In addition, they took the rafter tails. Of course, it's not going to actually be built with rafters. It's going to be built with trusses, but they're going to build rafter tails in the soffits that are inspired by the house. So that ties it in nicely without, you know, drawing a lot of attention. It's not an overly intricate design, you know, nice quality, small, but we can kind of still keep it out of the way. 2 garage doors. Another comment that we had was that there should be a little bit more to tie it in historically. So we've got this bay window. So we actually have a builder who's going to custom build that window. It's going to be wooden and everything with the slats. And they're also going to build a custom door on the side of the shed. And so that's what we're seeing at the bottom there. And so that's going to be a 5-panel. We've got a lot of 5-panel interior doors in the house, so it'll tie in without really attracting attention. So if we keep scrolling, the next page, if you don't mind, Kate.
Yep, no problem.
All right, so this is a 3D model. This is not from the architects. That's something I drew just so that we could do some mock-ups and see what it looks like. Obviously, there's going to be more details when you actually build it. And those are in the sketches and will be in the stamp drawings. But this is, you know, just kind of approximately the right size in a way that we can look at the cedar shake and the asphalt shingles and the garage doors and stuff. Just get an idea. All right, so if you could scroll a little bit more, please. A little bit more sketches. Here's our elevation profile. Originally, I had a 12-4 pitch. It's still a 12-4 pitch. We did have the feedback that snow wouldn't fall off the 12-4. Snow is always a concern at Syracuse. I'm not going to argue that. But when we wanted to match it off the veranda, that's also a 12-4. Mind you, it's going to be right next to the veranda. We don't have any problems with snow. We've been through a winter now, so I'm not concerned about that at all. The only thing, we have the small channel there. That said, the garage isn't going to be heated, so we're not worried about ice dams and things like that. Let's see. Electrical. So I mentioned earlier, my wife, she grew up in an old house outside Philly. There's a company that her family loves called Ball and Ball outside Philly. They do these handmade reproductions. So for the exterior lighting, we're going to go with a Ball and Ball copper lantern. Right now on my electrical plan, there's 2 of them. After talking with Randy, that's actually going to be 3 of them. We're going to put one over each garage door, one over the side door. And again, really, really high quality, beautiful, beautiful fixtures that they make. Site plan is on the next page. This one's hard to see. It's got the whole lot. It's two-thirds of an acre. It's a large lot. But you can see in the back corner, kind of southwest, is where we're going to have the garage. It's the only reasonable place for a garage with zoning in order to have setbacks and in order to build, you know, relevant elevation. If we have a garage, it's got to be in that corner. So our main idea there was just to be able to preserve the drive-through driveway with the 2 curb cuts. And so we're basically putting it back. It's not all the way back for maximum setback because we've got some hedgerows that we want to maintain. But we're putting it relatively far back. And then so we can preserve that driveway, we're going to take the radius and increase the radius of that driveway. And that should do a really good job so that we can still get through while preserving the character of the property, keeping the garage tucked away. Also of note on the site plan in the front of the house, last fall I mentioned that we had some problems with erosion. The brick walk deteriorating. I can confirm that that's happening. We've lost bricks over the winter. So we really want to get something in to stop that erosion. At some point, a previous owner installed landscape paper. It's doing nothing. So I originally wanted to build a wall. I'm an engineer. I like to build things. The board didn't like the wall. That's fine. They suggested planting. So I'll talk about that in a little bit, but we've decided that a cut leaf Stephanandra planting in the green rectangles there should do a good job being, you know, an organic way to handle the erosion, while also should be quite pleasant and in keeping with the neighborhood. So yeah, that's towards Brattle Road there, those 4 rectangles. And basically we're just looking at the places where the slope is the steepest. It's around a 50% grade. It's quite steep. I'm not sure how it got that way, but it is what it is. All right. The next page I think we can skip. That's the AC compressor. We talked about that in fall. The board said okay. Moving forward, there's a closer view of where the garage site plan is going to be. So you can see we're basically a 6-foot setback. Zoning said okay to 4 foot, but we want to keep those hedgerows intact. We don't want to delete them. We don't want to try to push them back or anything like that. So basically the entrance is going to be from the top of the page on that Brattle curb cut. And then the side door is going to keep going straight. So I can, you know, for clearing snow, I basically just drive the tractor straight out of there. Should be really good for our youth. And again, in the back, scrolling a little bit more, we've got to zoom in on the plantings. So there were 2 trees there. There's only 1 tree. This is a more recent survey with the laser elevation profile. So basically we got 2 40-foot by 9-foot plantings of the cutleaf Stephanandra, and then 2 22-foot by 7-foot. We've got some pictures later on. A little bit of grass grows. We've trimmed the tree and deleted the other tree. It was in quite bad shape. It needed to go. So there's a little bit of sun there now. It's not total shade. I think that grass will grow if we take care of it, but I don't think that grass is going to hold that slope in place. And so that's the idea behind this, is just to keep those steps from, and again, over the winter, we lost bricks. So it's definitely moving. All right. Scrolling down a little bit more, we've got material lists. Last fall, we replaced the roof with Gaff Timberline, HDZ, and Oyster Gray. That's what we'll use for the garage as well. That'll all match. The builder It's he actually worked a lot on the Stickley house. He recommended this garage door to us, the Amar Hillcrest carriage house design. The windows and side doors, those are going to be hand built. So I can't give you a product description of them, but they're going to be built to Randy's specifications. Cedar shake siding, we procured that. Basically, it's going to be the same as what's on the house. I think that they're probably going to have to do some cutting. We did have to repair some of the dormers, and basically they took a cedar shake product that was a little bit oversized and then just cut them. I believe that's what the builder's going to do. Traditional foundation, I mentioned the ball and ball lanterns already. Painting's also part of this application. Most of the painting we're just gonna repair. So, you know, there's lots of lead that's chipping. That's all, you know, RRP work. A lot of scraping and you know, Tyvek suits and stuff. Most of it we want to just replace with what was there. So there's a lot of white trim on the house. The white trim has yellowed a little bit from the lead, so the paint that we replace it with is going to be a little bit whiter. We're going to have to swatch a few things, and there's going to be a little bit of judgment call and some guesswork there, but we're going to try to do our best to get what it was. The cedar shake, it's got a really nice patina on it. We want to, or weathered look, I guess you'd say. It's not metal. We want to seal that in, so we'll just basically seal that maintenance. So I didn't include that in the bid, but just so you know what's going on there. And then the stucco, it's currently bright yellow. It's faded. There's a lot of crumbling stucco. There's also a lot of botched repairs. So we're going to take out the botched repairs and just repair it all the correct way. Then I didn't put it in the application. There's a PPG elastomer primer that we'll use that should help cracks from forming and propagating. And then for a finish coat, we're looking at Storm AF700. That's a Benjamin Moore product. That said, this is what we've got in the application. This is a pretty big project. I think the best way for us to do this is to swatch this and maybe a couple other examples somewhere on the back of the house on the stucco. So we're not 100% on this color. This is what we're submitting. But I think that, you know, maybe we meet with Kate or the board or something with some swatch examples before we actually paint the house. The stucco's got a lot of texture to it. It's going to have to be sprayed. That's a big job. So we want to get that right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that would be the appropriate way of doing that. Just bring swatches to Kate.
Great. I mean, actually swatch on the house so we can get it in the various lightings.
Yeah. So just to clarify, just quickly, Brian, to clarify, the house itself, actually, I think there's some photographs, right? The house is yellow. So you're suggesting the gray color for the yellow, switching out the
gray would replace yellow.
Yep. Okay, got it.
Yeah, but depending on how the gray looks, there's a handful of different directions we'd go. It would mostly be a neutral, and it would certainly be a historical color. That even on the interior, we're limiting ourselves to historical colors. But yeah, that's a great picture. The yellow would become gray, the white would become its original slightly whiter white, and then the cedar would just be sealed to keep the weathered look in. And yeah, if you've seen the house, it's really got a nice look to it. Basically what happened, that the cedar was installed shortly before the house was foreclosed. So it was, I believe, sealed at some point, but the sealant fade and we kind of hit just the right time where it's weathered, but it isn't deteriorating. So I'd like to keep that look. And it's kind of part of the story of the house. You know, we got the history of the house, and part of it's not great. And I think the weathered way is a pretty way that we can, you know, preserve that part of the story. If you could scroll back up to the plantings real quick. So this was kind of a footnote. We had some AC compressors on the side. Basically, we just wanted those to be behind something. We don't want people to, we don't want to see the AC compressors either from the sidewalk. So we've got this, just American boxwood, just plant a few of them around the compressor so you don't see it. And then we got the cut leaf Stephanandra. That's an example I pulled from Pinterest of another case where it's holding a slope. I don't think we would get it, let it get quite that unruly. That looks a little bit overgrown to me, but it's a good example of the plant. It's relatively hardy. It's good for our environment. It can stop erosion, can handle a wide variety of lighting conditions. And I think that will meet our needs quite well. So basically, we'll just be talking about planting that at the slopes area. So Kate, if you could scroll down again. So that's a great example. Basically, those 4 patches were where we have stairs. So you can see to the right of that, that's a fairly steep slope there. So we'd have the cut leaf there. And then if you scroll down a little bit further, there's from the street view. The tree on the left is gone. The tree on the right has been brought back into a healthy amount. So it's much less coverage. But yeah, you can see where it's steep there. And basically those front bricks, that's where it's got it the worst. It's actually to the point where we're worried about, UPS deliveries and stuff. As soon as it gets dry, I'm going to be doing a bunch of work with mortar or maybe bringing a mason in. I'm not sure yet. And you can see it from the side there. Under the shade, previously grass hasn't done too well. I do think we could have it with grass, but again, it's about a 50% grade. I wouldn't trust grass to it to hold it in place with the walk the way it is. All right, Kate, if you could scroll a little bit more, please. Okay, so here's some mock-ups for the garage. So just what we can see, it's hard to do this, exactly to scale, given it's a 3D model that I'm photoshopping in, but approximately what it'll look like from this sidewalk as you're going by, just kind of tucked away there. The next page, please. If you're walking up towards it. So where that plan is on the left, that's where the driveway radius will be increased, so you can still get through to the porte-cochere. Incidentally, the porte-cochere has been restored. We did it all one-to-one. We even had custom router bits made so that we could match the original trim for what was rotten. Next page, please. And there it is from the house. It's a relatively small structure. I mean, this is a huge house. It's not a lot of coverage, and it's certainly the elevation profile insignificant. You got really, I'm not sure if you'd call it 2.5 or 3 stories, but we've probably got 1,500, 2,000 square feet on the 3rd floor. It's huge. All right, next page, please. There's the erosion that I'm talking about.
Yep.
And you can even see the cracks in the mortar on the brick. It's just not a happy brick walk. Got a lot of work cut out for me there. And I'm fine to do that, but I don't want to be doing that every few years. Next page, please. That's the other side from the stairway.
And there's the paper.
Yep, yeah. I don't know what that was supposed to do. Oh, actually, can you scroll up just a little bit? There's the veranda. Sorry, down.
Oh, sorry, down. There we go.
Perfect. Yeah, right there. Yeah, so there's the veranda. So we're gonna basically put some bluestone at the bottom of the stairway there, just so you're not walking down the stairs right into the grass. I think I called it a patio, but it's like 10 foot by 10 foot. It's not like something that you have your dinner on. And then similarly, that's the AC compressor I'm talking about that we want to get some boxwoods in front of. Nobody needs to see that. It's obviously very important to us, but it's ugly. And then for the roof, so that's a hipped 412 pitch roof. So basically we're just kind of copying that and putting it on the garage. And I think that's it.
Okay, well, Brian, first of all, I want to thank you and compliment you for the completeness of your application and your presentation.
Thank you.
I'd
Okay.
like to
Any
just
comment from board members?
thank you, Don. I just wanted to second it that we appreciate this is a perfect example of how to use the best historic design skills to move forward with an appropriate project informed by the property. This garage could become the poster boy for additional buildings in the district in terms of how you went through the process. So thank you for your efforts.
I appreciate that.
Are you taking, can I just add, are you taking a lot of before and after photographs, and are you using the tax credits?
Yes. And yes,
Good.
yeah, I've been talking directly with the state on that. They appreciate what we've done. I'm not sure how familiar the board is with the house. It was in very, very bad shape. Vandalized twice. The bank sat on it for many years. It was to the point where there was stuff that was so bad, like the roof, you know, there was leaks everywhere. We just had to get it done just to keep things from getting worse. We didn't bother to get the state application in on time. And I explained that to him, was like, look, you know, we want the 20% on that, but we want the house not to cave in. I mean, every single rafter on the north face of this house had to be repaired, every single one. The rot was so extensive. And so, you know, we told the state that, and they were actually very great about it and said, well, you know, that was an emergency. So they backdated our application so that we could get that in. So yeah, we're using the tax credit everywhere that it applies. That said, it does not apply to the garage. So
No.
we're not using it there.
No, it wouldn't, but nonetheless, it's,
Right.
it-
No, I'm very familiar with the house, and what you've done is close to a miracle.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments from board members?
I have a comment.
Sure, please.
Brian, as a neighbor, I just can't tell you how thrilled we are with what you've done. It is really amazing. And I'm like almost choked up, but I want to just kind of talk about what Kate said a little bit ago. Have you ever thought about documenting this project for a possible publication somewhere in a you know, maybe Architectural Digest or something? I mean, I think this project is that amazing. I don't know.
Yes. You know, we've been kind of taking pictures haphazard on our phones, just like showing stuff before and after.
Right.
But where it really hit us, the foyer with the banister, I mean, that's one of the marquee parts of this house. Once we had the floors done in there and cleaned up a lot, my wife sent me a picture of it. And my first reaction was that it was a picture she found from Architectural Digest or, you know, Good Housekeeping or something. And then I realized, oh my gosh, this is our house. Like, we lived there. It was a very surreal moment. And so once we had that, we kind of realized what you're saying is that, like, you know, this is, we love the house. We're excited to live here, but this is bigger than us. And so yeah, that was a turning point. And yeah, we're documenting a lot of stuff, not just in terms of like the pictures, but also, of course, the materials, the techniques, and even just I'm writing kind of, I'm not a journaler. I'm not a person that cares about my feelings, right? But I started a journal for this house, just so I could be, you know, why did we do that? What was our state of mind? What was going on there? What did the contractors say? You know.
Right. Well, it's
many
fantastic.
people decline to bid on things, and the answer is a lot.
Right. No,
well, thank you, Brian. It's wonderful.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
Lots of stuff that packaged here and good presentation. I just want a little clarification because the 3D model doesn't match the elevations of drawing. I want to clarify the garage doors and the trim at the base of the garage. May I assume, or I don't want to assume, that you're going with what's drawn as opposed to the 3D model and elevation from the 3D model, because it's drawn differently.
So, okay, two things are going on here. One, it's a sketch, right? So I don't have necessarily the rafter tail dimensions. So when I did the model, I just, you know, threw something into two rafter tails. The idea is generally what it looks like. It's certainly not something that a builder would use or that we would use in the permitting process. It's just to see what it looks like. Right, second off,
okay.
The elevation profile, you can understand the difference between a 2D drawing and a 3D drawing. The 3D drawing is showing perspective. The roof looks smaller there, just as the top of the shed looks smaller. The perspective is in there. Is the roof pitch exactly the same between the two? No, probably not. I didn't measure them. But if you were to collapse the 3D rendering into 2D, it would look closer than it does.
I guess what I want as a clarification is that you're going with the detailing and the massing of what's shown, what Crawford and Stern drew as an
Yes.
elevation?
Oh, yes, yes, yeah.
Because just in terms of the mullions on the windows of the bay, the window shape on the garage and so forth.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Okay,
We're
all right,
going,
that's, I want that in the record that, because you're showing two different garage doors, you know, the fenestration.
door is a talking point. I understand that with the mullions, they're not historical and that's unlikely to get through. We never wanted windows on the garage door. We've had people check our car doors here. We've been keeping the sports cars off site for that reason. I really don't want people peering in. You know, on the other window, if they peer in, they see a lawn tractor. That's fine. If they peer in through those windows, they see sports cars. I'm not really comfortable with that. We would prefer not to have windows at all. And so that's what we want to do. But I figure that's a talking point for the board.
No, Brian, just to clarify that point, you're going to be using architectural documents, so you're going to be submitting those, I presume, at the time of construction, and the reason I'm asking this, and I think you're hearing two architects asking you the same question.
Sure.
You want to make sure that the drawings are as we see them and as you intend them. When you say you don't want windows in the garage, first of all, the design is very good that you have received in all aspects of this little new building. So on the garage doors as a detail, I think that what you've shown is exciting us all and showing glass above, but that glass does not need to be clear. In other words, the way you show these doors with 4 windows in these panel doors could be munted and glazed, but they could be diffused glass, so you get light, but they can't see in and see the cars. So these drawings are important to remain as they are, and we understand that the 3D drawing below with the arched windows in the doorways is a simulation only, but we want to make that abundantly clear that the drawings are basically your architect's best judgment for your project.
Absolutely. So, and where we are in the process, the drawings from Randy are, I mean, some of those are sketches, some of them are kind of pre-production drawings. Right. They are swamped, absolutely swamped. We're going to start permitting as soon as we can. Hopefully we'll have stamped drawings before long, but the stamp drawings are going to be based off his drawings. I showed Randy the model and he said the same thing about the garage door. He said, oh yeah, you can't have those rounded windows. We understand that.
Okay, and I'm not opposed to not having any windows. I mean, yes, they could be diffused glazing, but I don't have a problem if they're not glass in this. I just wanted to make sure that the fenestration in the pencil or ink drawing is the direction you're going in.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
The model is just something I did so that we could see what it would look like on the corner lot.
And I would ask you that when you submit paint swatches, etc., also submit the stamp drawings to Kate too.
Absolutely. Yeah, as soon as we have them.
Yeah, I was just going to ask this, if the board is satisfied or is fine with the color, knowing that the color of the stucco is, you're going to be experimenting a bit, you know, on either side of this particular gray, that, you know, if you can provide in the end to me your final color choice, that would be great. And just to let the board know, I would be seeing the permit drawings as well when they come into the city, right, so I could verify what was going on.
And we're satisfied with your analysis, knowing that if you have any questions, you'll reach out.
Kate, do we need a motion today for action?
Yes,
we do. Could
I make a motion?
Sure.
Is it appropriate to make a motion? First of all, compliment the applicant, and would make a motion to accept the intent and the garage, to accept the submission as submitted with the details for follow-up.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on the motion?
No.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Brian, terrific job. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
yeah, thanks so much, Brian.
Okay. Great. Okay, moving forward, the last item on our agenda is discussion. And first and foremost, I want to commend Kate for reaching out in the manner that she did and setting up a meeting between the owners and the city. various departments, and it looks like we've bought some very important time, and we've gotten some reference from the owners as to intention. Do you want to explain a little further, Kate?
So this is the Gillette House, and I organized a meeting with the codes department, knowing that there had been additional damage to the rear of the building. I organized a meeting with codes and then invited Jeff and Bob to come join on a moment's notice, just to add a little bit of preservation weight to the conversation, and was very gratified that the Codes department was most interested in having them solve the immediate issue. They're not looking for complete demolition. And also very grateful to the property owners, Margaret and Garth, who went back and with the whole property group had a conversation, and they decided at this point to mothball the building, to stabilize, do the emergency stabilization, mothball it, and then we'll be figuring out or they will be figuring out what happens next. But I think the most important thing is that we have saved, or at least given the property a little bit more time, which is important. So
right, and the realities in these situations usually are that if the owner is willing to do the stabilization and the mothball, it's less likely that they're ever going to be trying to demolish it. So
we hope, and I think that to the maximum extent possible, that the LPB can be of assistance, and the and certainly economic or neighborhood business and neighborhood and business development can be of assistance. I feel as though this is going to be a pretty heavy lift to get this complete and securely on the right path. So whatever we can do, but it really is a building that's worth the effort. So
absolutely. Well, great job, Kate. Great job. Any comment or any other business?
This applicant is looking at the future of that building, as Kate has just said. Number one, they decided to stabilize it. They have an engineer going there. Number two, they've talked about ideas for the first time about possibly looking at alternatives of subletting and selling it. And I think they need help along this line, and any expertise that we could offer would be great.
Super. Super. Okay, that's all very good news. Any other discussion items? If not, I'll be looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Everybody stay healthy, stay safe, and I got my second shot and I have no reaction.
Nice.
Thank you.
Okay, great, everybody. Have a great
Thank you.
couple of weeks.